So you just bought a copy of ST19 Black Smoker, but now you're asking yourself, how do I get this ready to play at my local tournament store? Well, today we're going to teach you how to play a Black Smoker leader deck and how to get your deck from out of the box to the top tables at your locals. But before we can start upgrading the deck, we have to go over the core pieces that come out of the box and what kind of game plan is your leader trying to do. Smoker is a 5-life, 5,000 power black leader with Dawn 1, activate main once per turn, give up to one of your opponent's characters -1 cost during the turn. Then if there's a character with a cost of 0, this leader gains 1,000 power during this turn. With this, we can see we have a leader built around cost reduction, with the added benefit of increasing its power when your opponent's characters hit 0 cost, enabling your other black cost-based interaction while pushing a little extra value out of the 1 Dawn attachment when it's taken to the fullest. But now let's identify some of the strongest tools coming out of this deck. One of the best things this deck does is give you a complete set of Black's most powerful cost-based reduction in Ice Age, a 1-cost main event that reduces a character's cost by 5, with Trigger, KO a 3 cost or less. With this, you can efficiently knock almost any character into range of your cost-based removal. This deck also gives us a powerful new removal tool with TCG, a 5-cost 6k power character with 1k counter. And on play, if your leader is Smoker, reduce one of your opponent's character's cost by 4. It also has activate main once per turn. If this character was played this turn, you may trash up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 0. The removal ability is built this way so that you can reduce a character to 0 with Tashigi's on play, but then have an opportunity to activate Smoker and get that extra 1,000 power before trashing the character from the board. Also trash, completely insane here, getting around a bunch of KO protection and KO activation effects like Magellan. But if you're looking for a full review of each and every card in this starter deck, you're going to want to check out our Starter Deck 19 review linked in the description. For now though, we're going to focus on only the cards that are going to make our level 1 deck, which brings us to the fun part of this video, upgrading the deck. We'll be reviewing 3 levels of upgrades today. Level 1 will focus on trimming the fat from the starter deck while maximizing the best cards from it and adding some commons, uncommons, and a few rares that anyone can get a hold of, cheap and easy, to create a more streamlined game plan out of the box. This will also include maxing out any copies of our powerful 2-ofs from the deck. At level 2, we'll start shelling out a little bit of money on super rares and other cards that can do the job of cards we're cutting from level 1 in a more efficient and stronger way. And finally, at level 3, we'll be maxing out this deck to make it the most tuned and thus most expensive version of the deck. This means we're at the most fun part, which is adding new cards. In this level 1 build, we're going to focus on buffering our Black Navy strategy while also focusing on cards that will let us utilize our Tashigi and our Smoker leader as much as possible. First, let's identify our removal tools. From the starter deck, we already have OPO2's Kobe, a 3-cost 4,000 power character with on play trash a card from your hand and KO a 3 or less cost character. This and 5-cost Tashigi are our only removal cards out of the box. So we'll be bolstering level 1 with an extra booster T-Bone and a starter deck 8 Kobe. T-Bone is a 5-cost 5,000 power character with 2k counter and on play KO a cost 2 or less character, allowing you to establish a mid-sized body while removing a character or leveraging him defensively in hand. Meanwhile, Kobe is a 4-cost 1,000 power character with activate main, you may rest this character. KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 2 or less. And this Kobe sees great value as the game continues, so that you can activate it turn over turn. So cards like Tashigi that come down and give a giant cost reduction but don't hit 0 can lean on Kobe to clean them up. Our deck also gives us a brand new card that takes advantage of cost-based interaction without removing the cards. This new Smoker is a 6-cost 8,000 power character with on play you may trash 1 Black Navy type card. Then 2 of your opponent's characters with cost 4 or less cannot attack during their next turn, locking down your opponent's aggression so you can swing with characters without the threat of them being attacked back, while Smoker also being a large body himself. Another one of our offensive pieces is this new Hina, a 4-cost 6,000 power character. With Dawn 1, this character's cost is increased by 4. She also features an activate main once per turn ability that lets you place a card from your trash on the bottom of your deck. Then she also gives Arrested Dawn to one of your leaders or characters. But with this deck pushing for more of a combat oriented black deck, we're also going to be adding the Smoker from Starter Deck 6, a 5-cost 7,000 power character that can't be KO'd by card effects. With a Dawn 1 ability that gives him double attack if there's a character with cost 0 on the board. Now, while this card is a super rare, it is extremely cheap and from another starter deck, and it really helps push our aggression while aligning abilities with our 0 cost matters reduction plan. But to help us achieve our cost 0 game plan, as well as our other cost-based interaction, we have a set of OPO2's Suru, a 1-cost 0-power character with 2k counter, and on play reduce a character's cost by 2. Plus this brand new Garb, a 3-cost 4,000 power character with 1k counter. That's both a blocker and has an activate main ability once per turn to place a card from your trash on the bottom of your deck and give one of your opponent's characters -1 cost for this turn. And we'll round out our deck with some additional cost reduction from Starter Deck 6's Hina, a 3-cost 5,000 power character with on play give -4 to a character's cost, as well as Tashigi, a 3-cost 4,000 power character with 2k counter, and activate main rest this character to reduce the cost of a character by 2 for this turn. Now, something that any black deck would struggle with as a level 1 build is the fact that black's identity revolves around combination plays and pairing cards together to have strong impacts. With level 1 builds, we're using the cheapest version of the deck, so what we can do to really help out these cards is make sure we're streamlining our deck as much as possible when we're playing it through card selection, which is why we're happy to include Black's Navy Searcher brand new from the starter deck, a 2-cost 3,000 power character with on play check the top 3 cards of your deck and add a Navy character other than brand new to your hand, putting the rest in the trash. And we can extend our card selection even further thanks to this brand new Sengoku, a 1-cost 1,000 power character with on play trash 2 Black Navy cards from your hand. If your leader has a Navy type, draw 3 cards. This Sengoku definitely feels very meh on its face, aside from offering us more access to card selection. But trust me, he's going to be a big piece of our deck moving forward into level 2 and 3. And at this point, if you haven't heard me name a card yet from the starter deck, it's getting cut. But our number 1 rule here is that if anything we suggest to you doesn't sound fun because you're excited to play with a specific card or explore a specific type of gameplay strategy, you should just ignore it and do what you want to have fun with, because at the end of the day, we're all trying to play this game to have fun. We just recommend that everything else we ask and we talk about in this video, you try to incorporate those strategies and concepts into that fun thing you're trying to do. That way you walk away with the most streamlined and successful version of your game plan. And by that same line, if you think we've overlooked anything or you have a sweet piece of tech that we don't seem to know about, make sure to let us know in the comments. I'd love to hear about it and talk about more there. But after all is said and done, this is what we'll be looking at for our level 1 deck. Feel free to mix and match some of these ratios, but this is what I would personally recommend to get you started. But now it's time to take things up a notch with level 2. At level 2, we're going to be trimming away some of the fat and increasing our ability to lean into cost-based reduction and removal, and adding powerful cards to do Black's other sub-theme, which is Trash Recursion. To start out, we're going to be adding the god of all Black deck cards, Gekko Moria, an 8-cost 9,000 power character with on play, play a cost 4 or less and a cost 2 or less character from your trash. One is active and one is rested. This one card is able to generate up to 5 total bodies at its best in a deck like Lucci. Here in Smoker, we'll similarly use it to recur reduction based on play and KO on play at the same time, or rebuild a stable wall of blockers and value bodies at an amazing rate, all while supporting this very large aggressive body. The inclusion of a card like Moria is also where our Sengoku from level 1 gets a lot of additional power, like I hinted at earlier. While sculpting our hand, we're also filling our yard with important tools to set up Gekko Moria, while digging for those copies of Moria as well. The more cards that care about trash that we add, the more value these Sengokus will provide, which is why we're going up from 3 copies in level 1 to 4 copies in level 2 and 3. On the topic of cards being powered up by Sengoku, we'll also be including Rebecca's from OPO4, a 4-cost 0-power character with blocker and on play, return 1 black character with a cost of 3 to 7 other than Rebecca from your trash to your hand. Then play up to 1 black character card with a cost of 3 or less from your hand rested. A blocker then immediately replaces itself with counter power or a threat in your hand, while also allowing you to develop an additional small cost body to generate on-play value and board pressure. We'll also be adding an additional reduction piece in Helmeppo, a 2-cost 3,000 power character with on-play reduce a character's cost by 3. While he reduces 1 less than Hina with a smaller body, he does come with counter power stapled on, and can be paired with Gekko Moria's on-play ability to maximize our cost reduction from our cost to play. Finally, we're going to round out this level by adding some Borsalinos, a 4-cost 5,000 power character with blocker. He'll also gain 1,000 power during your opponent's turns and can't be KO'd by card effect during your opponent's turns. While there are stronger blockers out there, Borsalino serves as both a 4-cost for Gecko Moria to target and a Navy subtype to trash to our Sengokus. But to make room for all of this, of course we have to cut more cards. In this case, our less impactful cost-based interaction and cards that aren't as impactful as some of their new super rare counterparts that we're adding. Both of our smokers got to go. Our old one was just a cheap way to further our combat-focused black deck, which is more of a level 1 thing, while our new one's cost-based interaction, simply freezing cards or rather removing them from the board, is just far too off the most optimal game plan that we can do with our black decks. Hina and Garp also will be exiting the deck as their abilities don't align as well with our new game plan and don't really work as well with the other cards when it comes to combination plays. After which, we're left with our level 2 deck. And by the way, if you're looking for upgrade guides for the other new starter decks 17 and 18 and 20 are already live on the channel. And Starter Deck 15 and 16's upgrade guides are already available for members who get access to our videos up to 2 weeks early. And finally, we come to level 3, where we finally get to introduce our most expensive and almost most powerful black cards that exist in the game to help further this already powerful game plan we have. To start it off, there's one reduction in KO card that stands above the rest in a deck like this, and that's Extra Boosters Brook. A 3-cost 4,000 power character with on play and when attacking, reduce a character's cost by 1. Then KO a 0-cost character on board. With a leader that gets added value from 0-cost characters being on the board, it's great having a cheap removal tool that gets to whittle away at characters' cost while cleaning up any 0-cost characters you created when getting that extra boost for Smoker Leader. Also for our early game, we have Sabo from OPO4, a 5-cost 6,000 power character with blocker and on play. All characters you control cannot be KO'd by card effects until the start of your next turn. Then draw 2 cards and trash 2 cards. While it's a blocker that doesn't pair as well with other cards like Borsalino or our Garp did due to its typing and cost, its ability to give blanket protection to your board while still working on filling your trash and filtering your hand is just way too strong to ignore. Then we get to really push things over our top end since we're running a Navy Matter sub-theme with lots of filtering. So we get to easily include a couple copies of Isho, an 8-cost 9,000 power character with on play if your opponent has 6 or more cards in hand, they randomly trash 2 of them. He also includes a Dawn 1 on your turn ability that reduces the cost of your opponent's characters by 3. This card does everything your deck wants to do and includes hand disruption in a format where decks are already trying to go big and long into the late game. Then finally, we upgrade to a premium removal piece in this format, Jack, an 8,000 power character whose cost is buffed by 4 when it's in play to make it an 11-cost character. It also features an activate main ability that lets you draw a card and trash a card to filter your hand while buffering your yard. Then you get to KO a 3-cost or less character your opponent controls. And since it's activate main, you can do it turn over turn like our starter deck 8 Kobe, really giving you good pairing with the TCGs. And of course, to put stuff in, we have to take cards out. Unfortunately, it's time for our best boy Kobe's to go. While they played a great role as Navy-based removal options to combine with Moria and Rebecca, we're now scaling far more aggressive in our removal tools. And while we don't have any more cuts, we'll be reworking a lot of the ratios of cards in our level 2 deck to make room for this more diverse toolbox we created at level 3, which leaves us with our level 3 deck. As always, some of these ratios can and should be played with as you learn the deck and figure out what works well in your local metagame. But this is where I'd recommend starting from. And that's our upgrade guide for Starter Deck 19. Let me know in the comments if you have any additional questions, and don't forget that members have access to an exclusive live stream turned VOD where I'll be playing this deck live the day this video goes public. But if you're looking for any more great One Piece content, make sure to check out the channel and subscribe.